Warning, this podcast has stories of real-life events and true crime that happens every day. These stories may contain adult language and graphic or disturbing details not suitable for everyone. Listener discretion is advised.
132 Bush, I've got him at gunpoint. Check the left phone for going to pull that direction on this side. They're pulling them out.
10-1-1. Advise ready for escape.
Gun!
So to War Stories. I'm Tom.
I'm Chuck.
And how you been, man? How's everything? I mean, aside from needing a drink of your whiskey.
It's been hot out here.
Yeah.
Just waiting on more doctor's appointments, and then waiting for my city just to send me to my doctors.
Yeah.
Send me to the 2 to 3 doctors that they need to
Right.
finalize everything. But
How close are you, time-wise?
fucking the only thing that's keep me from finishing is them. Now I've done everything in my power. Just waiting for them to set up those, because if we could set them up, they'd be done and over with. But
Yeah,
we're
we'll
just
have to
waiting
have
for
like
them
an
to set it
online
up.
retirement party. Like we'll have to do like a retirement party for you on Locker Room.
Dude, all I know is that I told them, I was like, look, man, I want to go get surgery. I want to get fixed. Like, I ultimately don't want to be fucked up for the rest of my life. Like, you know, it's not something that I want to do. So I was like, well, I told my attorneys, I'm like, hey, man, what's taking so long? I want to go get surgery. And if I get freaking surgery now, I gotta wait. I gotta redo this whole process again in another 2 years.
Yeah.
Because that's how long the recovery will be for a back surgery and a knee surgery. And it's
Right.
probably gonna be longer because back is 18 months for the fusion or disc replacement, which is what I want to do. And then the knee surgery is another 8-9 months.
Yeah.
So
Well.
I'm like, dude, what the fuck? So I'm looking into stem cells because I might not even have to get surgery.
Yeah, well, I'd like to do that for my wife. I found out how much it costs, and yeah, we'll see.
For what company?
I'll tell you about it later. Doesn't matter. This isn't a commercial for stem cells. This is a podcast for law enforcement, first responders, and firefighters. And this week's guest is my buddy Matt. How are you, buddy?
I'm great. Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Thanks for coming on, man. I feel like I haven't seen you at all this week, and yet I've seen a ton of you this week.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah. So Matt and I know each other in real life, but Matt's agreed to become a guest on the show. And Matt, you like Chuck, are both Marine and a member of law enforcement. And so, Chuck, I know you had some questions about the Marine Corps stuff, so go ahead.
When did you serve?
2012 to 2017. Joined.
Oh shit.
Yeah, I graduated in June of 2017 or 2012.
Wait, hold on.
and
Did you do a 5-year contract?
I did a 5-year.
Oh
contract.
fuck! Let me guess where you work. Were you some sort of intelligence?
No, I was infantry.
Wing.
So
Infantry, and they popped you for a 5? Oh, you got
Yeah. Well, I was motivated. First of all, I thought I was going to do 20.
Overachiever.
5 is no
yeah.
problem.
Yeah, five's just a little dent, right?
That's a big.
So
deal.
I actually signed a FAST contract, which is the Fleet Anti-Terrorism Security Team. So I did that, and then you're an
That's cool.
0311 as well. So you do Fleet Anti-Terrorism Security Team for a few years, and then you go to the infantry battalions as well. For
Oh, that's
2
cool.
years.
So you get to do. Was it kind of like an embassy detail where you get to go to different spots and set up or
So
stateside
it kind
or
yeah, it kind of depends with FAST, right? So FAST is kind of the redhead stepchild of the infantry, because we have a different type of lifestyle than the normal grunts. And what I mean is we do a lot of close quarter battle training.
okay.
We do a lot of CQB type of stuff, and we're not hiking and on our feet as much, which gets a little of the infantry guys a little upset. And usually
You're doing the fun shit.
Yeah, and usually we pick up rank a little quicker too, just because we have 100 extra points on our cutting score.
Right. Now, was that also one of the reasons why they gave you a 5 years, because they were going to put you into that unit right off the bat?
Yep. So
That's what I
exactly. Yep. And usually the fast guys, we get a lot more deployments. So in total, I deployed 4 times in 5 years.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So we deploy a lot quicker, but they're a little bit different deployments. Like you go to Cuba, you go to Guantanamo Bay, and you work the fence line there, which not a lot of people know. Marines work that fence line.
I've seen a few good men.
Yeah. So
I know about fence line shootings.
Yeah, between Gitmo and the United States, exactly. So you do that, and I was in Charlie Fast, and Charlie Fast is the Middle East. So our main mission is, going to embassies that are being taken over. So like Benghazi is a perfect example. That was Alpha Fast, and then my Fast company, my Fast platoon, was the infantry Marines in Iraq when ISIS surrounded Baghdad back in Father's Day of 2014, I believe. So it might have been 2014. Yeah. So when ISIS surrounded Baghdad, we got deployed from Bahrain and went into Iraq and ensured that the embassy was not going to be taken over by ISIS.
The funny thing you said earlier, that's all awesome. That sounds fucking amazing. But something you said earlier, when you're like, all the other infantry guys kind of get their, pennies in a bunch because we don't do as much hiking. No, bitch, you're jealous because we get to do the cool shit, and you get to be stuck, going to the range and going on hikes and humps. And then when you're not, you're trying to fucking skate by and ghost out in your rooms and hide.
100%. And I mean, we have a better life too, because
100%.
When we go to a platoon, we're surrounded by, we're all peers. Like we're all PFCs and Lance Corporals, and our squad leaders are sergeants who've come from the fleet and are doing their B duty, I think it's called. And so we're not surrounded by 19, 20-year-olds going to Afghanistan and Iraq when they're 18. So the hazing in Fast is pretty much non-existent in comparison to normal infantry. That the first day you show up, good luck. That
was me when I showed up in Camp Lejeune, Courthouse Bay, and there we get off on a fucking Thursday.
Yeah,
and they bust our asses in, and it's probably like they did this shit on purpose because we got there at like noon, maybe 10 or 11, maybe around noon.
On field day, the worst.
Well, no, we got to our airport at like 10 or 11. They were late to pick us up, and then they drove us around in fucking circles until like 3, until everybody got off. 3 or 4, everyone got off. Everyone's doing field day, and then they're like, "All right, let's roll these bitches right up in the front of the fucking company." And we get out, and all you see is everyone go fresh meat, like you're in fucking prison. Everyone comes to all the decks. You're surrounded, like it's like a big fucking compound. Basically, you're all fucking surrounded. They're all hanging on the decks of all 3 decks on surrounding you, and you just hear them fresh meat, fucking throwing shit at you. You go, what the fuck did I just walk into? And then they walk you under a sign under the stairs that says "Welcome to the Suck," and I was like, oh fuck, what is this shit?
And I'm here now. Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah.
It was like Morgan Freeman. It was at that moment he knew he had fucked up.
Dude, it was fucking hazing all of my time when I was there.
Yeah. That's the whole time. That's what battalion infantry is like. And I got really lucky because I did quite well in the Fast teams, and they actually sent me to advanced infantryman course while I was in Fast. And I was the first Marine from Fast to be qualified in advanced infantryman course. They had no clue how we were going to do because we're learning a different side of the infantry. And then to go from Fast straight into advanced infantryman course, they didn't know how I was going to do. And luckily I did well. I succeeded, became qualified as an advanced infantryman, which is what you needed to be a squad leader in 2015. the Marine Corps came down with that order that if you're going to be a squad leader in the infantry, you need to go through advanced infantryman course.
Oh yeah.
So about a month later, after I passed advanced infantryman course, I went to 2nd Battalion, 4th Marines, the Magnificent Bastards. In Pendleton.
I thought 4th was generally for reserves.
No. So cool story about 4th Marines. The 4th Marines is literally the bastards of the infantry, because 4th Marine Regiment is the only Marine Corps unit to retreat in war.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Oh fuck.
Yep.
Which
Yep.
where when?
So that happened in Korea under I believe it was an Army 2-star or an Army 3-star. But our colors are actually in Japan.
Oh, no shit.
Oh fuck, dude.
Yeah. So yeah,
Ain't getting that shit back, dude.
Yeah, 1-4 is in Camp Horno. 2-4 is in San Mateo, which we're attached to 5th Marine Regiment, right? So we fall under 1-5, 2-5, 3-5, and then you have 2-4. And then 3-4, I believe, is part of 7th Marines. So they're in 29 Palms. So they're part of 1-7-2.
Okay, wait. I want to read this because I find the last words on this sentence telling. Okay, it says, though under-equipped and outnumbered, the 4th Marine Regiment fought valiantly. They were eventually forced to surrender on 6 May 1942 under orders from Major General J.M. Wainwright, U.S. Army.
Yeah. So that's kind of a stain under the Marine Corps.
It's the Army's fault. You can
So
blame
4th Marine Regiment, that's out of Oki.
Yeah, so our colors are in Oki.
Right, but is that when you said you went to 4th Marines? Is that where you got stationed? Was Okinawa?
No. So we're attached under a different Marine regiment. So 1-4, 2-4, and 3-4 are all separated.
Okay.
Oh,
damn.
It's interesting. It's super weird. Something I never knew until I was part of 2-4.
So you're in California?
Yeah. I'm in San Mateo.
What is crazy is that fucking 4th tracks for us. It's so weird, but it's out of Texas, but they're all reserves.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And I was like, that's an odd place to keep like the reserve.
Yeah.
Like you figure you put it like, I guess because it's centralized, right? Since the reserves is kind of central in the United States with Texas, kind of split it down the middle. I guess kind of, but I figured they'd probably be on one of the coasts, like
like the rest of the Marine Corps.
Yeah, put the reservists with the Camp Pendleton out there, because the school battalion's out there and all that stuff, and so you went in 2012, and you got fucking 5 years later. How'd you like the full 5 years? Like, was that a long stint where you're like, fuck my life? Because I was getting out in 2011. That's when they did the reduction of force, and so I got out right as you came in, and. So hearing someone get a 5-year contract, you guys had to have done some pretty cool stuff. And, but that's still a long time. I mean, I normally see guys getting shafted with 5 years as cooks or getting straight screwed. Like, yeah, we'll give you 5 years and we'll put you open contract. And then, but that was before the reduction of force where they needed bodies and they wanted to make sure that they could withstand or maintain the numbers of the United States Marine Corps for fucking the battle to ensue, like overseas and stuff like that. But after coming in at the best, I guess the beginning of the reduction of force, how was that? Like, how was all of that?
Yeah, it changed a lot over my 5 years. It changed, and I mean, it really changed a lot in my last year.
Is that when they got rid of TANs or deserts? Deserts.
No, they got rid of deserts, I think, in 2018.
Okay, because I remember seeing that. I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, that was right after.
They got rid of deserts just to bring them back?
Yeah, that's the Marine Corps way.
And they got rid of rolling sleeves for a while.
Yeah,
What?
so that came back while I was in. That came back probably 2015. 2016.
So it started while you had just got there, because I was still rolling my sleeves when I got out, and then so they
Yep.
got rid of rolling sleeves. So you're having to sweat your nuts off in the summertime with long sleeves, and
Yep.
then towards the tail end, they're like, "Oh no, you can roll your sleeves again."
Yep. Because I remember, 2012 was my drill instructors were pretty pissed off because they just got rid of rolling sleeves, and that was just another thing to haze you on.
Do you know why they got rid of it?
No clue.
So from what I heard, they got rid of it, and that's the same time where they really cracked down on the tattoo policy, is because they didn't want the Marines to look scary.
Right. Yep. 100%.
I'm like, that's our whole point.
Which I'm pretty sure it's all changed now. I'm pretty sure you can have sleeve tattoos and go all out, but it's sad because I think of all those staff sergeants and gunnies that I met, and they were all kicked out, and it's like this was some of the best leadership that we had for fighting wars, and you just gone. When
I was doing steps and taps, I literally had a staff sergeant right next to me, or he was a staff sergeant or a gunny, and he had been in for 15 years or 14 years at that point. And they were basically telling him, like, you're getting separated. Like, we're not going to allow you to finish because you didn't promote. And he's like, because I like what I'm fucking doing. And this is my livelihood. I wanted to do a career. And they were basically telling him, nope, sorry, you didn't promote in the last time you're supposed to promote. You should have promoted. That way we'd have kept you in. If not, you're gone. You have if you become a staff sergeant, I think at the time they were giving them like 4 or 5 years to promote up. And if you didn't promote out of that, they were separating you. Well, honorably, obviously, but they were just, hey,
you weren't getting to retirement,
Right.
And there's a lot of things, like, as I'm looking back, and now we're in 2024, it's just like, man, this sucks, and before we get into all that, I'm also extremely thankful for what the Marine Corps gave me.
Absolutely.
I was extremely blessed. I was pretty successful as a Marine, and my last deployment, before we get into that,
we're going to unpack all of it.
We got it. We got plenty of time.
We got time, right? So when I went to 2-4, again, you have to remember, redhead stepchild. I'm coming from fast. I didn't live the infantry life. I'm a corporal about to pick up sergeant. And I get there first day, and they're just like, all right, where are we going to stick this dude? And I was talking to the master gunnery sergeant, and they're trying to figure out what company to put me in. And I told him I went to advanced infantryman course, and his whole persona just changed. Like, snap of the finger, talking to me like a fresh boot to, okay, this guy's actually worth something. We don't have to send this guy to school. He's proven himself to be a leader. Where do you want to go? And we were talking about, can you swim? I'm like, that's a weird question. Yeah, I'm a pretty strong swimmer.
Did you get sent to swim qual? Like McWiss and stuff like that?
No, I wasn't that great. I was intermediate, but people don't understand the difference between intermediate and advanced swim qual is insane.
Yes.
Because beginner is so low. Intermediate's barely above that. And then advanced is through my ceiling.
Yeah, so we had to be intermediate in our unit.
Were you boat company?
No, I was Amtrak. So we were amphibious. Okay. So I went through 3 different swim quals to qualify. And you had to be at a certain level. I forget the level. It's been out for.
If you've ever seen Chuck, he's not built for swimming.
No, I think like a motherfucker. So the treading water was the hardest fucking part for me. And I'm like, I can't fucking float. And I had to, my second swim qual. So you did the first one in boot camp, right? And they grade you and whatever. And I did okay. And then I was in Camp Pendleton, and they're like, no, this dude's tracks, he has to be the next level up. So they sent me to this fucking, we're all like recon and shit trains and stuff. You see like videos, and they sent us into the pool. We had to do this weird fucking thing where you have to go around full battle rattle, pack everything, gun, and you have to go around, and then you have to swim in the fucking pool, go through like a little course, and it's deep, and then you have to do a buddy rescue.
Yep.
And the guy that I had to go rescue could not fucking swim.
You
I don't think
literally
he ever
to
had
rescue him.
I had to rescue him.
He needed a rescue. It was a real rescue.
He was right. And so my buddy, going into this, I had a really good friend. This is off topic, but still on topic. But he was a rescue swimmer for the Navy. And he was like the best swimmer you would ever ask for. It's like, these are the dudes that go down in like the big ass like Atlantic seas and shit like that, where boats go down and they have to go rescue people, and the Arctic waters and crazy shit, like just high seas, rough terrain in water, and they have to go and rescue people. And he was telling me, he's like, if someone fucking is all swimming, what do you do if someone's squirming like that and you can't get him under control? He's like, you punch him in the fucking face,
knock him out.
It's a fight.
You knock him out and you disengage. Either they're gonna drown.
Yeah.
Like,
can't drown me.
I'm going to punch you. You're disengage.
Yeah.
Because you're not going to drown me.
I did.
Or you knock them out and you drag their unconscious ass to shore.
Knowing that, what I did is I grabbed the dude. I put him on his back. I went to go put him on my back. I put my gun over the top of him, and I start swimming, right, to go to the other side. And it's literally, you have to swim to one side of the pool, just to the other, like horizontally, not
20 feet.
Long ways. And I grab him. I put him on his back. He fucking freaks out because a little bit of water splashed into his face, and he starts thrashing. So I fucking smacked him in the face. I pushed him off of me, and then I picked him back up and put him back on me. And I finished it. I brought him to the other side. I rescued him. And because I did that, they were trying to disqualify me. And then fuck me. But eventually I argued it, and I was like, this is bullshit. Like, he was trying to drown me. So we didn't both drown. I fucking punched him. I pushed him away. I regripped. I threw him back on me and brought him to the other side. And I had to argue it. And it was going back and forth for probably about a good hour. And then I was able to pass. And when I got to my unit, got to the fleet, we went through another course where you had to tread water for like, I don't know, it was like 10-15 minutes or some crazy amount of time.
Minutes. Yeah.
Yeah. But you were able to utilize your camis as a flotation device.
Yep.
I was the only way I fucking passed because I was dying. But that's cool. So did you get to go do any of those swim quals, and what level did you get?
Yeah. So, talking with the master guns, he's like, all right, you're going to boat company. Right.
Fuck yeah. That's cool.
Yeah. Little boot old, Corporal Creighton. I was like, all right, cool. What do we do? He's like,
rib boats?
You're on Zodiacs.
Zodiac's are cool as shit, by the way.
Yeah. And you're going to be going through a boat package down at Coronado, and
dude, that's so awesome.
Yep, you're gonna go in as a squad leader and have fun. I was like, all right, sweet. So I was already intermediate qualled, and that's all you had to be. And there, once I got to my unit, my platoon commander was like, "Do you want to go to Water Swimmer Advance?" And I was like, "Sure, why not? I mean, it can't be that hard. Intermediate wasn't difficult." For me, I'm a pretty competent swimmer. And, something else that needs to be said about the Marine Corps swim quals, basic is like an hour, right? And mostly you're waiting in lines. Like you have to do like 3 things of swimming. You have to jump off 15 feet, swim 10 meters. Then you have to swim with a pack that's floating. I mean, it's pretty simple. Intermediate, a little bit harder, but not much. Mm-hmm. If you can tread water for 15 minutes, that is the hardest part. And I was a pretty competent swimmer, so I was feeling confident, and I was like, "Yeah, let's do WSA, Water Swimmer Advance." And he's like, "All right, cool. It's a week long," and I'm like, "Whoa!
A week?
It's a week
That's a
long."
big jump.
Yeah, I'm telling you, it's through the ceiling. And he's like, "Yeah, it's going to be at the San Mateo pool, and good luck." I show up day one, Monday morning, 05:30. And they said, all right, we're going to do a run, swim, run for the warm up. It's going to be run 3 miles, 20 laps, run 3 miles. And I'm like, this is the freaking warm up. And yeah, WSA was all that all day, 5 days, drowning, swimming, drowning, and just fighting and high jumps off. I think San Mateo's the 45-foot high dive. It was the highest in the Marine Corps. Then Recon just built a pool with a higher high jump, and it's deeper by like 2 inches than the San Mateo pool. So now it's the deepest pool in the Marine Corps. They're all proud of it. Good for them. It's a pretty sweet pool, but being in the pool was absolutely miserable. I hated it. It wasn't fun. I was not mentally and physically prepared for what just hit me in my mouth. So finally on like Wednesday, I was like, nah, I'm done with this. No more. Because initially they wanted me to be a scout swimmer, which is just finning, a lot of finning. And what's crazy is like, this is part of the Marine Corps that not a lot of people know we do. Like people, they think, Recon does all this, and they do. But battalion infantry does it as well.
Right.
And it was pretty sweet. But I mean, that took a lot out of me. So finally, being done with that was a good feeling. Getting through WSA, but WSA was freaking miserable. You wanted to quit every day, every second.
Yeah. Or they say it's one of the most awesome experiences that you never want to have again.
Yeah, and I mean, what's crazy about WSA is like McQuist is higher than that, and McQuist, I believe, is a 2-week course.
Yeah, we had a couple cats go through McWis. We went right up to it.
Yeah, and I have a good buddy that I came through the Marine Corps with. He was actually my first squad leader in FAST. He was a sergeant. Now he's actually out of the Marine Corps and he's in the Green Beret. Cool. And he went through McQuist, but I mean, he's a beast of a man. I mean, he went through selection and the Q course in the Army, and he's done extremely well. And
yeah,
I'm super proud of him. But getting through that, and then getting through the workup, right? Going down to Coronado, California, and being freezing cold on a Zodiac boat for 8 hours at a time.
So here's a newsflash to people: the Pacific Ocean is cold.
It's very cold, and we had a winter.
The Ocean is very.
Yeah, we had a winter boat workup, and it was absolutely miserable. I think we went down to Coronado in February. And I mean, it was 4 weeks of just being completely miserable. And it's funny because we're with the Buds class that's down there. We just watch them,
right?
They're down there around us all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a Sunday evening, and we're drinking beers on our H, just kind of watching the SEALs get hazed. And all of a sudden, their Hell Week begins.
Oh.
Yep, and we're just sitting there watching this whole entire show go down.
Oh, I would totally. I would pay good money. I'd be like $5 admission to sit and watch Buds. I'm in.
Yeah, and they're ringing the bell. I mean, the bell was being rung all night, and I'm just like, I don't want to be there. I mean, it was insane watching them, and you need to have the perception of like, our life sucks, but their life is way worse. Right? Like, this sucks doing what we're doing, and it's miserable, but like that's terrible.
Yeah, that's where you feel better about your own existence.
100%. And it fixes your perception, because even in my line of work today, perception can get changed, and other people's perception of you, they don't know what they don't know, and you don't know what you don't know. And so watching that and being able to broaden that perception makes your time a little bit better.
Oh, sorry. Keep going.
Well, because we just complain when our Copenhagen's filled with salt water in our pockets from breaking the surf and swimming, and you're watching these guys get 4 hours of sleep in a week.
Right.
And at least I'm getting 4 hours of sleep a night,
Definitely puts it into perspective. You're like, fuck, dude, it could get a lot worse for us.
A lot worse.
Right.
A lot worse.
Now,
really fast.
You spent 2 years with the 1 infantry battalion, or
with FAST. Yeah, I think I spent 3 years, picked up corporal at probably around 2.5 years.
So this,
And
this
then-
is your third year in the Marine Corps when you get put to boat company?
Yeah, maybe 3.5.
And you said you deployed 5 times. So I want to say
Four
what,
times
three
in
of
5
that,
years.
Yep. So
3 of that
two-
was probably with Fast,
Yep.
and then 2 was with the boat company.
One with the boat company.
1 with the boat company.
Yep.
And how long did you do in the boat company the rest of your time?
Rest of my time. So yeah, I was the squad leader right when I got in, and right when I got into 2-4, and I very quickly learned, because again, you have to remember, like in Fast, everyone's your peer, and peer leadership's very difficult. That's why when you pick up rank, when you go from a Lance Corporal to an NCO in the infantry, they send you to a different company usually, because that way you're not in charge of your friends,
Right.
like everyone
Right.
who you're with, and you can go build your leadership style somewhere else, because peer leadership is very difficult. So once a platoon's done in Fast, right, we all come in as PFCs. Once a platoon's done in Fast, we're usually all corporals,
Right.
unless you got in some really bad trouble, then you probably lost rank. But I would say 90 to 95% are corporals. And then we just get shotgun to the infantry regiments all across the Marine Corps.
Interesting.
Yep, it's very weird. So then I literally get there, and we picked up our new boots pretty close. I think probably the next week after I got there. And yeah, I'm a squad leader in the infantry doing squad leader things. And eventually, probably right before my deployment to Okinawa, I became the platoon sergeant.
Shit.
Yep. So
Were you a staff sergeant at that point?
no, I was a sergeant.
Yeah. So the Fleet Marine Corps is very different than a Fast, because Fast is, they actually have you in the designated ranks for, specific ranks, right? When you get to the fleet, it's so like, I want to say bare bones, because you're doing jobs. Like I was a crew chief. I was supposed to be a sergeant doing that. I was a corporal. And then I was
Right.
doing the sergeant's job, which was actually a staff sergeant's job. And he was the section lead,
Yep.
so.
Well,
You
and
can
it's
learn
very
real quick.
much like billet over rank in the Marine Corps, which I respect greatly. That's probably like one of the biggest leadership things that I took from the Marine Corps is, what billet are you doing? What job are you actually doing?
Right.
Because they hide staff sergeants places, they hide gunnies places.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, like, why are they hiding you? And what job are you actually doing? And
Right.
it was crazy to me, because one of my drill instructors, who was a sergeant as a drill instructor, came to 2-4 as a staff sergeant after being a drill instructor. And I was platoon sergeant of 3rd platoon. He was now platoon sergeant of weapons platoon. So this guy who used to destroy my life as a recruit, him and I are now peers, and we're best friends to this day.
So that was your actual drill instructor?
It was my actual drill instructor.
Whoa, dude, talk about full circle, like getting
Full
to actually
circle.
work with your fucking drill instructor. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that doesn't happen very often.
No, that's awesome. That's
So
fucking
it-
awesome. If I could have
it
worked
was-
with one of mine, that'd be great.
Yeah. So it was like super cool to see that side, right? Like,
Yeah.
see that side of the Marine Corps of, we have a job to do, and we're savages, and we are America's pit bull, but we're also, we also have this, we're friends. Like once you're inside and you earned it, and we're here, like we're brothers all the way through.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And sometimes brothers have to smack each other around,
Yeah.
and older brothers have to put younger brothers into place.
Mm-hmm.
But once you're here and you earned it, we're here. We're one big family.
Right.
And the Marine Corps is full of savages. It is
Oh, absolutely.
it's a warfighting fraternity. There's times that I woke up Saturday morning at like 03, and there's a paintball war going between 1st and 3rd deck. And then all of a sudden somebody throws a smoke grenade that they tactically acquired, and there's smoke grenades going out.
That's amazing.
Sunday night, you
Marines
go
do some
out.
dumb shit.
Yeah, Sunday night you go out and there's a car being flipped over by like 8 Marines in the parking lot, and you're just like,
As
what
Marines
is-
do.
you're like, what is going on?
Alcohol was not involved. Don't worry.
Yeah, alcohol not involved. It's like we are a war fighting fraternity. Is so much fun. And like being a platoon sergeant, I was a platoon sergeant at 21 years old. And I remember just being held to such a high standard because I wasn't, initially part of the infantry, right? I went this bastard way, picked up rank, and then having to come back into the infantry regiments and kind of earn my way through was it taught me a lot. It taught me a lot about, where's your ego at? Where's your confidence at? And because if you come in and you just try to be an asshole to everyone as a corporal coming in from fast, you're going to get eaten alive. Like I watched it. Yeah. I watched it over and over and over by, corporals that would come in.
It's like demanding respect instead of earning it.
Right. 100%. And just getting eaten alive by lance corporals, because again, it's billet over rank, and like nobody's going to protect it. Even as a platoon sergeant, I got corporals from fast when I was a platoon sergeant, and I'm like, yeah, you're not even a team leader, man. Like you're going to follow this lance corporal because that's the way it is. It's
right.
what not what rank you have on your
meritocracy. So what kinds of things did you get to do when you were deployed? What kind of action did you get into, or how did they use you? What was the most fun thing you got to do, or the most memorable thing when you go out?
The best thing
was it fast?
Yeah, the best thing I ever did was be on the counter sniper team for John Kerry when he was in Iraq.
Oh,
that was probably like the coolest thing. I still have his challenge coin. I use it in it's my golf ball marker when I play golf.
Yeah, I don't like the man, but getting to do something like that regardless is cool. And he had his own challenge coin, like a John Kerry. Was it a bottle of ketchup?
No, it's a Secretary of State, right? So that was cool. Not
it's the position you salute the rank, not the person, right?
Yeah. So it was like having the Secretary of State and working with the SEALs out there and the Green Beret that was out there, because we very quickly thought Baghdad was going to go down. We thought it was going to be the next Benghazi.
When they were surrounding.
When they were surrounding Baghdad. And ISIS very quickly figured out they did not want to fight the United States Marine Corps conventionally.
I think a lot of people figure that out pretty quickly.
Yeah. So, what they ended up, once we showed up and showed them.
How does that go down? How do you deal with ISIS surrounding Baghdad, and how do you set that up? What happens when you get there, right? You arrive in Baghdad, and then they do what?
Yeah, so the AC-130 or the C-130 before us took a RPG on landing. Probably about 30 minutes before we arrived. We ended up landing at the airport right there, the base, and we just started loading up and flew straight onto a helicopter into Baghdad, into the embassy. And
did they drop you on the roof?
No, they didn't drop us on the roof. The United States Baghdad and embassy, or the United States embassy in Baghdad, is a very big place. It's huge. And I mean, that was where Triple Canopy, there's tons of guys in Triple Canopy that were already there. That was their main headquarters. And one of the guys that I used to work with in law enforcement was there when we showed up as Marines. He was there working for Triple Canopy, which again is another, like, it's a small world type of thing. But as soon as we showed up, we need to start with ISIS made a very bad decision of spreading out too quickly across Iraq.
Okay.
And to try to get to Baghdad. Once that happened, we took out their supply lines. And then once they figured out that they didn't want to fight the Marine Corps, They then started going northeast and trying to attack the Kurds up there. And pretty much Baghdad did not take much action after that. Once we initially landed and special operations went out, drones went out, they tried mortaring us and vehicle-borne IEDs into the embassy, but they just realized very quickly it was not going to work.
So when you guys were there, were you guys taking like shots and stuff like that? And you said mortars
Yep.
and stuff.
Yep.
So what was the rules of engagement?
Very lax.
Oh fuck! So you guys were able to just, hey, there's a car coming, they're not stopping. Let's just fucking line it up.
Yep. You know, military age males with firearms, like it was very lax, because you have to think we were the first infantry Marines into Iraq since we pulled out of Iraq in what, 2011, 2010.
Yeah.
So this is now.
Yeah, they started that in like the 2009. They started pulling out, and then
Yep. So now we're in 2014, and the embassy's about to be the next Benghazi. Absolutely not, right?
And this was kept kind of, it was not widely publicized, let's put it that way, right? It was,
Yeah.
I guess, because it didn't happen. It almost was like it didn't make the news because you guys did such a good job of making it not go to shit.
Yeah, and I remember they said like 45 Marines on the ground in Baghdad. And I mean, we also had a ton of special operations cats with us, and
Of course there's going to be,
yeah. And so they really focused on the Northeast with protecting the Kurds. But again, ISIS just spread out too far across Iraq. And they realized we were not going to let Baghdad fall. I didn't know if they thought we were just going to pull out, you know, but we ended up staying there. And then we were there for about 3.5-4 months, I think. And then 1-6 came in and took it over from us. But that whole area was just like, I remember showing up and starting to build because I was a designated marksman and fast. So I had an M110 sniper rifle. And I remember building all of our hides and everything, and just looking across where the embassy's at is just tons and tons of apartments. And I mean, it could have been really bad, really fast.
Yeah, they have high ground for sure.
Oh, that, and I mean, so many hiding holes, and yeah, I just remember looking like, all right, this is the modern day Alamo. Like,
did you guys get in any shit while you were there?
Yeah, we definitely had some ticks, but not much. It was just testing to see what we were gonna do. They sent a lot of mortars our way, trying to see if we were going to fortify our positions after they mortared us. And Triple Canopy was getting in a lot of stuff initially once we got there, because they were going out doing their normal supply runs and stuff. And they were taking heavy uptick when we first got there, and then it pretty much stopped about a week, 2 weeks after we got there. Because again, I think they just figured out we weren't leaving, and we were not going to let it fall. No matter what, we were not going to let the embassy fall.
Right.
So
that was one of your that was like your most memorable time when you were there deployed, because you're on John Kerry's counter team.
Yeah, that was a very long day. that was a long 2 days actually.
I bet.
With him there, and because that was still pretty fresh. I mean, we were there. I think he showed up probably 2 weeks in when we were there. So it was still very much like getting into issues and a ton of IDF coming in, but we were kind of worried about that. And once he showed up, we didn't know if they were going to do a full-on attack, which, you know, thankfully for them, they didn't.
Yeah, good for them, not for you.
Yeah, so that was one of my favorite times, like doing that but honestly, my favorite time in the Marine Corps was just being a platoon sergeant, just being in charge of 42 Type A mofos who want to get the job done. And sadly, you know, my last deployment was the 31st MEU, which is also called the 30 worst MEU, because you go from Okinawa, and we did Okinawa to Guam to China to Malaysia, Philippines, doing all that training and stuff with the forces down there, which again was crazy because I learned when I was in the Philippines, they have the longest civil war in world history. It's still going on.
Wow.
Really?
Yeah. The
Crazy.
southern islands of the Philippines is a war zone.
Oh shit.
Is this going all the way back to like what was it, the was it the Imelda Marcos and like all the stuff for Imelda Marcos?
I don't know. You're gonna have to Google it. I think it's been going on for like 200 years. I don't want to.
Oh, that long? Okay.
Yeah, I don't want to misspeak,
Whoa.
but it's been going on for a long time, which
Go
is
ahead.
crazy because, you know, ISIS was there in the Philippines.
Oh,
Right.
shit.
Yeah, showing how you know, all these terrorist organizations are intertwined all the way through, and you know, we're in the Philippines. And
So was your MEU just like a booze cruise? Like that's what we call it, but
yeah, pretty much, you know,
training, drink, ship life.
yeah, tons of training, tons of jungle warfare training. Because you get to Okinawa, you sit there for 3 months just training for 3 months, and then you go on ship for 3 months.
Yeah.
And I remember because it was crazy when we went, because China was really starting to ramp up the building of their islands. And I was on the USS Green Bay, and there was times where I could throw a football between our ship and a Chinese ship.
No shit.
Yeah, following us.
Damn.
How intense was that? Were you like, oh fuck?
Yeah, it was weird, right? You know, it was weird because, you know, like, one, they're not going to attack a Marine expeditionary unit. You're literally fighting a floating war zone with submarines and aircrafts and like, but they're also there just to harass us. Because they know we're not going to do anything crazy, and we know they're not going to do anything crazy. And they just follow us there and turn off all of our communications.
What?
Yeah. We weren't
shit.
allowed to. Yeah, we weren't allowed to call home. We literally floated for, I think, 35 days straight, while the Chinese just followed us.
That's horrible. And then that's because you guys shut that down for operational security, right? Because you don't want them to intercept anything.
Yep.
Now you deployed 5 times. Last one was on a MEU.
Four
times. Sorry,
four times in 5 years.
Last one was on a MEU. Yeah.
Yep.
Last one was on a MEU. You had the one where you're at the embassy on John Kerry's counter snipe team. Generally, that one is like a normal deployment's around 7 months, right? So did you guys just go there for 3 months and then you were able to come home, or did they send you somewhere else when you were there?
No, so you go to Bahrain. Bahrain is like, so we were in Bahrain for 3 months before Baghdad, and then Baghdad popped off, and then they sent us from there to Iraq.
Mm-hmm.
Was there anything happening in Bahrain?
Nope. Bahrain, we do a lot of training with their forces there, but that's just we're a fleet anti-terrorism security team, just kind of chills and waiting until something pops off in the Middle East.
What was one of the most hairy times that you had while deployed?
We're taking fire from right when we got there, and right when we got to the embassy, taking mortars and direct fire from across the street, and vehicle-borne IEDs going off. I remember the first night we got there, you could just do a full 360 and see all of the smoke coming from all the vehicle-borne IEDs that they were sending into
Oh, jeez.
the embassy.
Wow. Because you speak pretty casually about it. This sounds like pretty much like a fucking war zone.
From all the times I've known Matt, he's
yeah,
an even keel guy. Like we were
Yeah,
just at an exercise, and Matt's kind of just always like, yeah, it was terrible.
yeah.
It's
It was the modern day Alamo. But again, I try to always have an outside the box perception on things. And like my time in the Marine Corps was nothing compared to guys in Fallujah, was nothing compared to guys in Ramadi, was nothing compared to the guys in Kandahar. Like literally nothing. There was times where, yeah, this is definitely hairy and this could definitely go really bad, really fast, but it's also not near as bad as what it could have been. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So I just try to keep that perception of, you know, it's really not that bad.
It could always be worse.
It could always be worse. You know, I got out of the Marine Corps with all my limbs, with all my fingers, and I'm really thankful for that. You know, I've had friends who are not that lucky. And then when I got out, you know, I had a very tough time once I got out transitioning to the civilian type of world.
I bet.
Because, I mean, once I got my DD-214, my company first sergeant asked me to pass word to my Marines. Like, being a platoon sergeant was so much fun. And at the end of the day, the Marine Corps, I was really contemplating going to be an instructor at infantry officer course for 4 years. And
doing another hitch.
Yeah, and re-enlisting and doing another 4. But the issue that me and my wife, I got married. I've been married 11 years. I'm 30 years old. So I got married at 19. And our oldest son is 9 years old. So he was born right after Iraq. And I already did 5 years and I was gone all the time. If I wasn't deployed, I was gone training. Right. And, you know, the normal peacetime Marine Corps workup, you're show up Monday, go to the field Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, you're gone. Friday morning, you get back. Friday evening, weapons maintenance. God forbid you're losing a piece of serialized equipment. If you're missing MVGs, or if you're 6 Marines, you're losing a couple rifles. It's a bad day. And sometimes you don't get home till 8, 9, 10 o'clock on a Friday. You have Saturday, Sunday to lick your wounds, and then you're back into it Monday. You know, you have 3 weeks and 29 Palms that you're always gone for. You have Bridgeport that you're gone for. You have all the different courses you get to go to. I got to go to Raid Leaders course, which was probably one of my favorite courses I got to go through in the Marine Corps. So you're always gone. And at that point, being married for 4 or 5 years, having the decision of, do I do 4 more, come back a staff sergeant, close to gunny. I'm already a platoon sergeant. Like, I'm going to come back, be a platoon sergeant again, deploy 2, 3 more times. And I have to keep re-enlisting, because at that point, if you do 9, I tell everyone this.
Might as well
if
just
you re-enlist.
If you do 9, do 20.
Yeah, if you do 9, do 20. Because
you would have retired at 39 years old.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. And not only that, you know, people in the Marine Corps, veterans have a very hard time understanding that when you get out of the Marine Corps, nobody gives a fuck. Nobody cares about it, what you did. No, the world is not owed to you. So now you're going to get out of the Marine Corps at 27 years old. All your adult life has been in the Marine Corps. You get out with no life experience, no true life experience in the realm of civilians.
Right.
But you have all this military experience, and you have a hard time focusing on, how can this carry me into my adult life now?
Right.
And guys have a very hard time realizing that nobody cares.
Right. Here you were in charge of millions of dollars, billions of dollars worth of equipment. You were a leader of men. You had uniform, you had rank, you had importance, you were part of a group, you were this, that, and then all of a sudden,
You're nothing.
you're
And
you walk out on the street and you can't get a job,
That's why a lot of cats
weeping
when
on
they
a
get out.
construction site.
Yeah, that's why when a lot of cats when they get out, they're like trying to get back in, fucking really quick, like because they're just like, I can't do this shit, myself included.
They realize very quickly the real world is a shitty place, and now guys are getting out. Like I can't imagine all the people, all the veterans that got into it in Afghanistan and lost friends and brothers and watched the fall of Afghanistan happen. That whole thing was absolutely terrible. And super sad because, the war on terror has been going on for over 20 years. And
at this point, we should just understand it's not going to stop.
Yeah. And not only that, I mean, now we're paying the Taliban. As the United States government. Like, what a big slap in the face for all of the veterans.
Now,
because Matt, go ahead.
No, go for it. Finish your sentence.
Well, usually, the United States has a really bad, we have a really bad track record of paying our enemies while they're our friends, and then later they become our enemies. Right.
Bin Laden.
Yeah. 100%.
Like we always feed, especially in proxy wars, we feed the enemy of our enemy. Yeah. And then when the enemy of our enemy defeats their enemy, they become our enemy.
Yeah. And then we act like we're surprised. What happened?
Right.
And then now we're paying them after the fact too.
Yeah, it's like, wild.
What? Why do we do this?
Who knows? Politics, bro. Just politics.
Well, you know what? I think we're getting to a point where I actually want to continue this conversation, but we're almost out of time. I would love to get into that subject more of the transitioning out, because it's something we've talked about several times. We've talked to many, many different people, and it's always a different. It's very different, but always the same, if that makes sense. And I've often said, when you get out of the military, you'd be shocked at how many people either go into law enforcement or prison, right? Like, it's a weird. There's lots of people that get out of the military and go do other things, but there is a very clear statistical anomaly where you either go to jail and you get in trouble, or the Hells Angels, for those of you that don't know this, the Hells Angels are named after a World War II bomber unit, and they originally started being made up of World War II veterans coming back from the war, not fitting in with society, not feeling like they knew how to fit in, and searching for thrills. So they bought motorcycles, or brought in a lot of cases, they brought Harleys home from World War II, or they bought surplus military Harleys and they turned them into their, bikes that they rode every day and raised hell, because it was the only way they could get that sense of camaraderie and that sense of action and excitement and that adrenaline rush. So, you can go be a cop and get that adrenaline rush and get the uniform and get the camaraderie, or you can go join a motorcycle gang or a criminal enterprise and get the same camaraderie and excitement on the other side of the fence.
Yeah, I've literally seen it with some of my buddies. You're
looking for the brotherhood again.
One of our co-hosts on The Locker Room, Matt, is a Navy veteran, and he's now an EMT, and he's got all these great things going for him. He's a set medic, but when he got out of the Navy, his young dumb ass made some stupid mistakes because he wasn't, the Navy was good structure, and when it was gone, he was left to his own dumbass mistakes, and paid for it with a little prison time, and then straightened his life up afterwards. But how many people don't straighten their life up afterwards?
Yeah, and the Marine Corps is so regimented, and so like at the end of the day, it's always like, what's commander's intent? What's commander's intent for this mission? What's commander's intent for the day? And you always have a commander's intent to fulfill every day. Once you are out of the Marine Corps, you no longer have a commander's intent. You are now your own commander. And some people can't deal with that. And I had a super rough time when I got out. It was like the person I am now in comparison to the person I was in the Marine Corps is a complete 180. I was a pretty chill platoon sergeant, but I was also an asshole a lot of times. I definitely did my fair I definitely did my fair share of getting my licks in. But I also wasn't the type of leader that, I was beat as a child, so I'm going to beat my children. Right. That's how a lot of squad leaders and team leaders are in the infantry. It's like, well, I was hazed, so you're going to be hazed.
Right.
Just because.
You have to go through this because I went through it.
Yeah. Yep. And so very much I was of, hey, you have standards. You don't meet these standards. I'm going to destroy you. And then when I get bored, your squad leader is going to destroy you. And when he gets bored, your team leader is going to destroy you. Like, you're going to do 20 pull-ups on the PFT. And if you can't, guess what? You live in the barracks. You're going to be doing pull-ups until we get tired. Right. Every day, there's a pull-up bar outside of every chow hall for a reason, bud. And it's because of you. You give me a dirty rifle, I'm going to take your rifle apart, give you grid coordinates, and you're going to go find it.
But that teaches them. It teaches them something. You know what I mean? It's not 100%. It's not senseless and mindless hazing. It's, hey, you fucked up on this. You got to fix it, and we're going to help you fix it. And if you want us out of your shit, you're going to help fix it yourself. Now, as we're getting ready to come to a close, do you have any words of wisdom or advice for those that are thinking about getting into the military or those that are currently in the military?
Whatever you decide to do, follow through with it.
Right.
And
do it well.
Do it well. Whatever that is. If you want to get out, get out. Just remember, nobody cares. And guess what? That's perfectly okay. It's okay because everything I went through in the Marine Corps of becoming a leader now and becoming the man that I am now, I would never change for anything. I wouldn't change it. I would do it all over again in a heartbeat.
The gift you get is the personal growth and the man you become when you're done. You don't need the applause and the parades and all that. If you're looking for, that's why I tell people, if you get into police work or you go into public service to get rich or famous, you're going to be sad, very, very sad, real quick when you realize that this ain't that. And if you do get rich and famous doing this job, you're doing it wrong.
Yep.
Yeah.
100%.
You might not see it right away. You know, it might take you a few years to really understand the gift that you have.
Well, Matt, will you come back on and talk about your transition into law enforcement and how that went for you?
Yeah, 100%.
Awesome.
All right, cool.
Awesome. And I guess, so we always end our episodes with, when we have a guest, we always end our episodes with a dedication, and we let our guests have the first crack at their dedication. And Chuck tells me you do have someone you'd like to dedicate this episode to.
Yeah, it was one of my first boots when I got to 2-4. Lance Corporal Drake Bolano. He got out of the Marine Corps, and his demons got the best of him after getting out and, not finding that commander's intent. And, it's terrible because I knew him well. I knew him as a young man and growing up through the Marine Corps, watching him and molding him. And, it's sad when the war is over, but the scars of the war stay with you, and we keep losing people to the war.
Right.
Especially when the government doesn't care.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And again, like you said, nobody cares.
Right.
And
the sooner you realize that, and the sooner you can kick yourself in the ass and get after life with that same mentality that you had in the Marine Corps, the sooner you're going to succeed. You just have to mold it into a different direction. Well, and some people have a hard time finding that direction, but once you do, and once you use the skills that you learned from your time in, you're going to succeed in life.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely.
Hey. Well, rest easy, brother. We got it from here, and we'll keep dedicating it until we don't have any more dedications to give. Chuck, what do you got for us?
Well, I want to say, Matt, thank you so much for coming on. We look forward to another episode with you, talking about your exit from the military and transition into civilian life and into law enforcement. We look forward to that. And I also want to say thank you to everyone for listening. If you like today's podcast and the content we provide, please help us out by rating and reviewing us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or really whatever podcast platform you listen to.
Except Google Podcast. Apparently that one went bye-bye. Did you hear that?
Oh, no, I didn't. Google Podcast
just dumped their Google Play podcast platform for whatever reason.
Oh.
Weird. Anyway,
weird. Well, we're also on YouTube, so check us out there. And we're on Instagram and Facebook. Instagram is at @war_stories_official, and our Facebook is at War Stories Podcast. If you already follow us, please like and share our posts. And you can even go to our website at www.warstoriesofficial.com and grab some gear. Everything's pretty low as it is. You're trying to figure some stuff out with that, but still have some stuff there if you want it. And I do got to get some gear out to one of our premium members. If you're listening, it's coming out. Just bear with us. And if you have a story you want to tell, or you think you could be featured on the show, go to booking.warstories@gmail.com. Again, that is booking.warstories@gmail.com. Send me your info. Let's talk about it. I can get you booked. We're always looking for veterans, law enforcement officers, firefighters, medics, but also as corrections officers, dispatchers, and nurses. If you have a friend who you think would be a great fit, let them know about us. Give them that booking.warstories@gmail.com email and link us up, and I can get them booked as well. And if you want to share your story, but you don't want to be featured on the show, you can always write it out in email format, email it to us, and ask us to read it on the show. And we can do it that way. Thank you for the support. Stay safe.
And until our next episode, come home with your shield or own it.